Financial wealth. 9 tips to methodically create it. The concept of financial wealth means different things to different people. For some people, being financially wealthy or wealthy simply means being able to support oneself in retirement or to buy a house. For others, being economically set implies being able to pass on some money to one's children or grandchildren. In its broadest sense, financial independence means accruing sufficient asset to support the lifestyle you envision for you and your loved ones, both now and in the future. Find out more. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I hope you are doing fantastic today. I'm doing marvelous. If you are doing as fantastic as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today, I want to talk to you about financial wealth and 9 tips to methodically create it. Number 1, pay yourself first. A great way to avoid spending too much is to pay yourself first. Putting yourself at the top of your financial priority can be achieved in several ways. For instance, ensure you are contributing to your work retirement plan. Save to a traditional investment account outside of your work retirement plan as well. Make saving easy and, most importantly, make it work. Automatic, folks. Automatic recurring savings makes saving a guaranteed function every month. You can set this up through your payroll provider or via automatic transfers through your bank. Number 2, seek promotion at work. Think about it. Increasing your income can help you attain financial security more quickly. Investing in your career can distinctly correlate with achieving your wealth objectives as long as helping you capture the additional earnings, the additional value, the additional financial stability that comes with higher earnings, right? You should understand the importance of blending financial planning into every wealth management relationship. So you have to think about that. You have to think about the financial objectives that help you create workable financial solutions to achieve your goals. Now, we have an entire series of videos around how to get ahead at work, how to be promoted, how to increase your chances of getting up in the hierarchy. So you might want to check that playlist. It's called Getting Ahead. The third thing you want to do if you want to methodically create financial wealth is to know your number. This is very important. Why? To achieve financial independence, you need to start saving for the future, but you need to know which target you're trying to get. Most people simply save what they feel they can save and then hope for the best without a plan. It doesn't work. You gotta have a plan, folks. You gotta have a plan. That's like setting off on a cross-country trip without directions. You have no GPS. You need a financial map. You need a financial roadmap to plan for your future, including retirement. So reviewing planning projections and knowing how much you need to retire, among other life objectives, will help you set goals, will help you make smart money decisions and create realistic expectations. That's the key word here, realistic. You need to embed financial and retirement planning as part of your ongoing objectives so that you can get the best guidance you need to succeed, especially if you are going to entrust your portfolio, your financial planning to a financial advisor, to an expert. You need to know first your own number, what you're looking for. You got to have an idea. And when it comes to that, when it comes to financial planning, I said before, the key word is realistic. You got to have a realistic plan. As a matter of fact, the most successful Americans, those who are able to have a financial plan that is proper, that is effective, they use something called SMART. So they want to make sure that their financial plan is SMART. SMART. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So you gotta have a plan, whether you are planning for 30 years or 25 years or 20 or 15 or 10. It doesn't really matter. The time frame doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing, what you're planning to do within the time frame. For instance, if you have 30 years, if you are in your 30s, Your plan should be different from someone who is in his or her 60s or 50s. All right. So pay yourself first, seek promotion at work so you can increase your earnings, and know your number. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Keyword. We are still having a conversation here around financial wealth, and I'm giving you 9 tips to methodically create it. I've already given you 3. I have 3 more to go. Let's talk about, but before we even get into the nitty-gritty, we'll get into the 4th tip here. Please consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't already done so, and also turn on the notification bell so you are informed whenever we drop a new show. We drop this kind of shows every single day, not only about finance and wealth management, but about a whole host of topics. All right. And subscribe. And I've already said that. Share, like, and comment below. If you have questions regarding the show, the topic, comment below. We answer every question. Every question is answered. Number 4, seek a mentor, coach, and surround yourself with wealthy people and like-minded individuals. You got to seek a mentor or a coach. It is very important if you're trying to reach a goal and your goal is financial independence. You got to have someone who understands how to get there or is already there himself or herself. A mentor or a coach is great. Now, the only difference, broadly speaking, between a mentor and a coach is that a mentor usually does not charge anything, and it's somebody who preferably must be older than you, at least one generation older, whereas a coach is someone that you would pay for. You would pay to advise you, and a coach can be either even younger than you or about the same age. It doesn't really matter, because the coach is being paid for his or her expertise, whereas a mentor is giving you a broad range of life advice. Another thing you got to do here is to network strategically. It's very good to go to happy hours and try to have fun and have drinks every now and then, but you got to network strategically too. You got to find people who can help you reach your goals. And you want to hang out with rich people. You want to seek their company. You know, those people who are already there, those people who are already wealthy. Surround yourself with folks who are like-minded. Even if they're not wealthy at the moment, the most important thing is the vision, the values they have. If they are motivated, if they have a vision for financial freedom, their vibrations, their good vibes, their positive vibes will basically reflect on you, and this will help you also. Number 5, understand your earnings. Understand that your earnings are not wealth. I see a lot of people, and we received these questions a lot in our mail, and people are asking us, is earnings wealth? No, earnings are not wealth. You can have a lofty income. However, an income does not equate to wealth unless you save some of it and build wealth. We live in an age of immediate gratification, right? Big houses, expensive cars, extravagant vacations, and more commonly consume virtually every dollar earned. In fact, many people with substantial earnings have very little to show for it, other than their affluent lifestyle. So to achieve long-term financial independence, the first thing you need to do is understand that your income needs to support today as well as tomorrow. You gotta save for the long term, and to do that, you need to spend less than you earn. It's just simple as math. This is arithmetic. You gotta, for instance, if you're making 100,000 a year, a year, and you're spending 95,000, your net worth is 5,000. Compare that with someone who is earning 50,000, but is spending only 20,000 or 25,000. That person is saving, all things being kept constant, only 25,000. That person. So compare that, somebody who is saving 25 grand versus you who are saving 5 grand. No wonder we have a lot of celebrities who file for bankruptcy. They've been making millions of dollars over several years, and all of a sudden you realize that they are bankrupt. It's just because their lifestyle did not support the wealth management plan. Another thing you need to do here is you need to create, and that's tip number 6. You need to create a safety net. Too few Americans, unfortunately, have an adequate financial safety net. Yet, an emergency fund can help cope with surprise expenses like car maintenance, home repairs, or health expenses. Because of that, we at the Sweetie Kiwi Show, we recommend holding at least 6 to 9 months of spending needs in your checking account or savings account. In other words, you don't invest that in the markets. The amount should be even greater, at least 6 months or 12 months of earnings if you are the sole breadwinner, if you don't have access to a home equity loan, or if there is uncertainty about your job security. Now, a lot of experts say 6 to 12 months. We personally believe it should be 2 to 3 years because everything can happen. And stuff happens if you have a sequence of adverse events. 6 months could be quickly gone. Let me give you an example. Let's say you God forbid, you get involved in a car accident. Somebody gets involved in a car accident. The medical bill alone can just wipe out the 6 months worth of rainy day funds, right? And you find yourself like, especially if you don't have the proper insurance protection, you are finding yourself going to square one, where you have to start thinking about getting a loan or tapping into the credit card or getting a cash advance on your credit card, which only worsens the situation already. So what I'm trying to say here is that when it comes to safety nets, you want to be as safe as possible. So go for 18 months if you can have it, or 2 years, and do things automatically. Transfer the cash into the safety fund account automatically. And forget about it. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I'm talking to you about tips to methodically create financial wealth. I've already given you 6. Let's go talk about the last 3 here. Number 7, don't compare yourself to others and don't compete with anybody. This may not have, you might think, oh, this has nothing to do with finance, but it does. If you compare yourself with others, you are going to try to mimic their behavior. For instance, if they buy a car, an expensive car, you might want to also buy a more expensive car. Same thing goes for clothing or houses. One of the best pieces of advice is to ignore the lifestyle of others and focus on what's important to you. Don't get caught up in competing. Instead, live your own life and make sure it's a life you can afford, both now and the long run. This is important. This is not just about now. The whole thing about financial freedom is you got to think about the future, not just now. If you have friends who only care about material items, it might be time to consider your long-term financial well-being by evaluating your social circle. True friends respect you and care about you, regardless of which restaurant you eat at or where you shop. Tip number 8, and this is maybe one of the most important tips here: avoid debt. Debt is the antithesis of wealth, right? Because if you think about when people talk about net worth equals what? It equals assets minus liabilities. And liabilities is the other name for debt. So if your debts are higher than your assets, you have a negative net worth. Actually, you don't have a net worth, and you might file for bankruptcy. Right? So many people have a mortgage, but consumer debts, that is credit card debt, should be avoided, except for balances that you can clear at the end of each month. Our general motto here at the Sweetie Kiwi Show is that if you don't have the money to afford something, then don't buy it. Another common debt to go is home equity loans, the HELOCs. Unless a home repairs is necessary to avoid damage to your home, you should carefully evaluate debt acquisition relative to your long-term life goals. And tip number 9, invest for the long term. You're not going to be able to work 24/7. You got to think about passive income. You got to invest in the future, financial markets. You got to invest in yourself. One of the best ways to secure your independence is to invest in your future with a diversified long-term investment strategy. Depending upon your age, you might want to have a good split of assets and bonds in your portfolio. So committing your savings to long-term growth helps your wealth to build, compound, and ultimately reach your objectives. Now, you want to craft a proper long-term investment strategy so you can manage your portfolio in accordance with your individual's objectives. If you don't have financial acumen, you can always reach out to a financial advisor, an investment banker, a wealth planner, a wealth manager, depending upon the kind of money you have. So you got to be very disciplined when it comes to savings, and you have to also think about account management, especially in the short term. If you want to achieve financial independence and success, you need to follow the nine tips I just gave you. All right, folks, we are at the end of today's show, and I want to quickly recap the 9 tips that I talked about here. Number 1, pay yourself first. Seek promotion at work. Know your number. Seek a mentor or coach and surround yourself with wealthy people and like-minded individuals. Understand your earnings. Understand your earnings are not wealth. Create a safety net. Don't compare yourself to others and don't compete with anybody. Avoid debt and invest in the long term. I will see you another time. But until then, be financially marvelous.